Prime Field.
All right, Huskies, last check-in. We're inside the final hours, and let's just say it clean. This game starts and ends with Sarah strong. Again, South Carolina's whole revenge script is built on one question. Can Madina, Okot, and Joyce Edwards actually keep Sarah from owning the paint and the glass the way she did in that title game? Because if the answer is no, we're talking about 37-0 and another trip to the last game. This is not a big picture video. This is the group chat before tip. Let's lock in. So here's where we are right now. We come in 36-0, undefeated, number 1 overall seed, defending champs. And the funniest part is people still keep talking about us like we're some cute overachiever because Paige is gone. No, we replaced a legend with a machine. Sarah's strong is the headline, obviously. She's the 2026 USBWA National Player of the Year, and she's on a 49-game double-digit scoring streak. 49. That's not a hot stretch. That's just who she is now. And it's not just points. She leads us in points, rebounds, blocks, and steals. That is absurd two-way control for a sophomore. This is why the matchup is so nasty for South Carolina. They brought in size to wall off the rim, but Sarah doesn't play like a stationary post. She catches high, faces up, one hard dribble, and now your center's in a foot race she never wanted. That's the whole problem. Then Azzi's the pressure point that makes all of this unfair. She leads us in minutes. She's got 115 threes made this season. And if South Carolina overhelps on Sarah even one step too far, Azzi's getting a clean look that feels automatic. KK Arnold is the game speed controller. Not just the point guard, the tone setter. She leads us in assists. And defensively, she's the first thing South Carolina's guards are going to feel. If Ta'Niya Latson thinks she's just going to live in the lane, KK is the reason that gets messy. And then the one that real UConn people have been clocking for weeks, Blanca Quiñonez. Everybody outside our circle thinks she's some random freshman pop-up story. She's not random, she's the chaos button. 20 points against Notre Dame, 7 for 11 shooting, and every time a game gets weird, she somehow speeds it up in our direction. Rotation-wise, this is the reality. We're thin, but elite. Morgan Shelley, Ice Brady, and Ayanna Patterson are out for the season. So Geno is riding a tight core. Sarah, AZ, KK, Ashlyn Shade, Kaylee Heckle, Ali Zebel, Blanca, 7-player trust circle, and because of that, the minutes are heavy. Sarah and AZ are basically living in that 35 to 38 minute zone in big games, which means this is not about who we are in theory. This is about our best players doing what they've done all year for basically the whole night. The numbers still scream UConn. We score 87.8 a game. We allow 50.1. 50.1. That's the wall. Best defense in the country. And our offensive mechanism is still the same one that keeps breaking teams. Ball movement and decision making. We do not beat ourselves. So our last minute status is simple. Healthy enough to win it, star power intact, shot creation intact, defensive identity intact. The only thing that beats us is if we go ice cold early and let them turn this into a rebounding avalanche game. Now the South Carolina part, because you can't do this game honestly without respecting the problem. They're 34-3, and the front court is Ritzilo. Madina Okot is the wall. Joyce Edwards is the other body you have to deal with, and together they're the reason people keep trying to sell the idea that this is some impossible size matchup for us. Let's start with Okot. She rebounds everything if you let her camp in the paint and just play goalie. She changes the entire math of the game. But this is where Sarah breaks your plan. She doesn't let you stay comfortable in drop coverage. She drags you up. She faces up. She drives from the high post. She passes out of doubles. That's why the just put size on her answer doesn't solve it. The actual question is whether Okot can move well enough laterally when Sarah catches at the nail or above the elbow and starts attacking downhill. And if we're being real, that's the fear on their side. Because if your center is opening up too early, crossing her feet, or getting stuck too upright, Sarah's first step is going to cook that. That's what makes her the final boss. She's not asking permission to play your kind of game. She's forcing you into hers. South Carolina's best chance is the no easy touches thing. Hard post catches, early digs, maybe a trap on the catch to force the ball out of Sarah's hands. Sounds good on paper. Problem is Sarah doesn't panic. If you sell out to stop her one-on-one, you're really betting AZ, Shade, and Zebel won't punish the weak side. That is a dangerous bet against us. And this is where the 2025 trauma tape still matters. People remember that game like South Carolina got physically overwhelmed. And that's not even what happened. They out-rebounded us by a mile and still lost by 15. Why? Because we got better shots, made smarter reads, and Sarah Strong looked like the future of the sport right in front of them. That's the ghost hanging over this rematch. Not that they were too small. Not that they got bullied. It's that they had size and still couldn't solve the coverage problem. That's why this game comes back to the same thing over and over. Can Edwards and Okot actually wall off the paint without getting dragged into uncomfortable space? Because if they can't, then the whole South Carolina defensive script starts cracking by the second quarter. Now let's get to the rest of the scout. Ta'Niya Latson's the one who can make this uncomfortable fast. She just dropped 28 against Oklahoma and went 4 for 4 from deep. So if she gets downhill and starts seeing pull-up rhythm early, that's when South Carolina looks like a title team instead of just a physical team. But again, matchup matters. KK Arnold is built for this kind of assignment. If KK stays attached and keeps Latson from turning the corner cleanly, South Carolina's offense gets sticky. They already turn it over enough that a game like this can get away from them quickly if they start forcing passes into traffic. And if their half-court offense gets bogged down, that's when our defense gets mean. That's when the whole thing starts feeling like a UConn game instead of a South Carolina game. Now, the sneaky thing diehards actually care about is Blanca, because while everyone is staring at the Stars, she's the one who can blow open the weird middle stretch of this game. She leaks out. She runs. She turns one long rebound into a foot race. And most benches are not built to absorb that kind of sudden speed. That's why I keep coming back to her. She's not just a nice story. She's a pressure point. And if South Carolina gets caught ball watching for even one possession too long, Blanca is the one who turns that into 6 fast points and a timeout. The other thing to remember is this. UConn's success still comes from ball movement. We are the best passing team in the country. That means South Carolina's whole defensive goal has to be taking away lanes and forcing us into late clock isolation. And yes, Sarah can still score in isolation, but if you can disrupt the rhythm before the ball starts hopping side to side, that's the one version of the game that gives them a real chance. So the scout is simple. South Carolina has the bodies and the rebounding to make this a fight. Latson has the juice to swing a quarter. Okot can absolutely tilt possessions on the glass. But if they don't contain Sarah at the high post and in space, all that size turns into a coverage problem instead of an advantage. Alright, quick live comment check because the internet is saying exactly what you'd expect right now. First one, South Carolina is IMO the best shot at beating UConn. That said, I think UConn wins. That's the cleanest way to put it. If you're actually watching the matchups, that take makes sense. South Carolina is the one team that can make this feel physical, crowded, annoying, and non-beautiful for long stretches. But that second sentence is the whole thing. Even people who respect South Carolina's size still end up back at the same conclusion. We have the best player, the cleaner offense, and the better late possession decision-making. Next one. Blanca introduced herself to the college basketball world with her 2 games in Fort Worth. Her game helped Huskies when others were struggling. She could be X factor going forward. South Carolina knows Azzi and Sarah, but Blanca is going to figure large in Final Four. Yep, that's exactly the diehard read. South Carolina has spent a year thinking about Sarah. They know what AZ does. But Blanca is the part of the equation that changes the texture of the game. She doesn't just score, she changes pace, she punishes confusion. And if this turns into one of those games where both teams are trading body blows for 2 quarters, Blanca is the one who can suddenly make it feel like we're playing downhill. Next one. I'm running out of adjectives to describe Sarah Strong. Her offensive game is top-notch, but it's her passing and defense that truly separates her from everyone else. That's the smartest Sarah comment I've seen, because casuals still reduce her to buckets. Real watchers know that passing is what breaks your coverage map. You can send help, you can load the paint, you can stunt from the wing. And she still finds the right read. That's why the whole just be physical with her thing sounds better than it works. Next one from the Boneyard, rebound, rebound, rebound. Honestly, that's the entire South Carolina fear in 3 words. Because if we clean the defensive glass enough to keep them from stacking second chance points, then the game swings back toward skill, spacing, and execution. And that's our neighborhood. If we don't rebound, then all the pretty stuff stops mattering real fast. Next one. AZ going off for 27, 30. That should be enough to get by South Carolina, assuming Sarah gets her 20, 25, and Blanca 15, 17. It's now or never for AZ. These are the last games of her college career, and hopefully she can make the most of it. This one feels emotional, but not wrong, because this is the AZ pressure point. South Carolina is going to spend real energy trying to make her uncomfortable. And if AZ wins that battle anyway, then the math gets brutal for them. You cannot survive Sarah bending the floor and AZ cashing the openings. Last one. Our signature D turned up a notch, making life miserable for SC. AZ aggressive. Williams plays with passion. I think Ash's shooting slump ends. Sarah and Blanca doing their thing. That right there is the UConn fan mood in one post. Not panic, not fake calm. Just the usual checklist. Defend. Hit shots. Trust Sarah. Trust Blanca. See if Ash snaps out of it. And make South Carolina play our kind of game instead of theirs. So, yeah, the live fan pulse is basically this. Everybody respects South Carolina's size. Everybody knows rebounding is the danger zone. Everybody still ends up back at Sarah Strong. And the sneaky name that keeps popping up over and over is Blanca. That sounds like our people to me. My final call, UConn 74, South Carolina 68. Reason 1, Sarah Strong is the neutralizer. South Carolina's whole answer sheet depends on keeping Okot near the rim. And Sarah is the exact kind of forward who ruins that geometry. She'll score, sure, but the bigger thing is she'll pull help, collapse coverage, and create clean perimeter shots for AZ and the weak side shooters. Reason 2, our shooting and decision-making are cleaner. When this game tightens, I trust our spacing and ball security more than I trust South Carolina to keep generating efficient half-court offense. That's really the whole bet. Not that South Carolina won't have moments. They will. Not that they won't own stretches on the glass. They probably will. But if this is a normal execution game, I think the better shot profile wins. And that's us. Confidence level, medium-high. Because if we open cold and give them a second chance avalanche, this gets weird. But if we look like ourselves, we're going back to the title game. So that's the last check-in, Huskies. Final answer? Don't let the rebound numbers fool you into forgetting the real matchup. This game's not just size versus size. It's whether anyone on that side can actually survive Sarah Strong in space for 40 minutes. I don't think they can. Drop your final score below and give me one thing you need to see in the first 5 minutes to feel good. Is it Sarah attacking Okot early? Is it AZ getting 2 clean catch-and-shoot looks? Is it KK making Latson miserable? I want the real sicko answers. And after the game, win or lose, we're coming right back here for the instant reaction, because this one is legacy stuff. If we handle business, the next video is the title game huddle. If not, we're talking straight through what actually broke. Either way, same place, same people. Bleed blue. Let's go get 37.
Prime Field.